Alright, let's get started. In this video we're going to do an introduction of how to take notes for matchup analysis. Just because it'll take a little bit too long to cover how to create kind of your spreadsheet or your works paper and then also cover a full character, I'm just going to go over kind of the basics of what I do to take notes on a specific matchup. And so as the loading screens happen, I can just turn to that page and I can immediately realize what I need to do against a character. Now, a lot of these things you're just going to kind of pick up just from naturally playing, and so you can memorize it. So there are instances in which you can kind of remove things or can have them still on there, and you may also be able to take your own kind of personal notes on behaviors that you watched. We're going to be talking about just the pure theoretical of how to do this spreadsheet. So without further ado, we can get started. The first thing that I like to do with any kind of character matchup analysis is investigate kind of their rage arc. And so we're just going to kind of go in rage. Because it's a mirror match, I can show all this with King. And what you do basically is you analyze what this rage is, and you need to see where it hits. This is a mid attack. And then also on the defense, you need to see how negative it is. Now, luckily, there's some resources out there like rbnorway.org, which I'll have a link to that website, which does a pretty good job of labeling a lot of the positive frames and negative frames for a lot of the moves. However, I need to stress this, it is not 100% accurate. So you still need to go through and kind of do your own analysis to kind of make sure that it works. And that's why doing like deep matchup analysis is a very time-committing thing. And you just kind of try to make as much outline notes as possible, and you're only looking at things in which you can actually react to. So if something is basically safe on block, there isn't really need to mark that in your notes, because either you're going to block it and in your note says I don't do anything, so you just continue to block, or maybe you know it's your turn so you can attack again, or if you're hit by it, then you're hit by it. There really isn't a decision point, and so we don't really mark that. We're looking at punishers, we're looking at when to sidestep, when to duck, things like that. So the moves we cover, we're going to cover not only the rage arts, we're going to mark that it's a medium. On RB Norway's website, it's -22 on block, and so King's punishers to that, you're either up forward 4, or if we are in rage ourselves, we can rage drive and then do a much more damaging combo. The next rage is the rage drive, which comes out at approximately 18 frames, somewhere around there. It's a combo starter and everything else, but it's +8 on block, and it also comes out as a mid. So if we ever block this rage drive, basically don't push a button because your opponent has such a huge positive on it. And then finally, the third thing that we want to track is this power crush. Every character has a power crush, Kings. It hits as a mid. You can mark that it's a long range attack, or you can just mark it's a mid. And it is -10 if you do it real close, but there are some kind of sweet spots in which you can find in which you cannot punish it. But if you can just mark it as either -10, -9 on your book, and then you're good to go. Other moves that we're going to concern ourselves with is we're going to break it down to a couple different categories. For King, our major punisher decisions are our 10-frame punisher, our 12-frame punisher, and then our 15. Those are our primary punishers. So 1-2, back 1-2, and then up forward 4 of what we're looking at to punish. We have other options, like if we're in a duck state, we can do wall standing 1+2, which leads to combos, or if we're looking for kind of safer options, we can do wall standing 2-2. And we're going to see all those in this video. So the moves that we're going to analyze is, first, we're going to be looking at 10-frame punisher, which is 1+2, 1. So if we do block this move, 10 frame, or it's actually -11 on RGB Norway's website, but we can practice that to see that, yes, it is punishable. And so what we do is we make a note of, in a giant column of all our punishable moves. So next time that we're blocking that string of 1+2, 1, we know exactly how to punish it with a 10-frame punisher. And because it's right in front of us, we can always use that as a reference, or if we're about to go into a battle, we can quickly look at, all right, what move should I look for? Other moves that we're looking at are kind of 12 frame punishers, in which any move that's minus 12 or minus 13, or even minus 14 or anything lower than that, we can punish it. So if we are able to block back 1+2, we know that we can do our 12 frame punishers back 1+2. We know that's our most damaging, highest damaging. Another instance of a 12 frame, we're actually showing a 15 frame, a minus 15, but it has pushback, which RBG Norway does not track. And so even though the move is coming out at minus 15, we need to do a different punisher. And that move is forward, forward, 4, which looks like that, comes out as a mid. And it's minus 15, but if we try our 15 punisher, we're going to whip because of pushback. And so we need to do our 12 frame punisher, which has extended range, and so we can actually still punish that. And so not only you're looking at raw moves that are, minus 12 or lower, but you're also looking at pushback options and exactly how we can punish them. And you're going to kind of do the boring thing of going through all these moves, and you can either do this through practice or in real life matches, and then you just take notes afterwards. Then kind of a 15 frame punisher is, in this example, just going to be down back 3. In which we can see after we block, we get that punish because this move comes out at minus 16. Other things that we're going to be tracking are strings, and you can go through every single string to figure out at what point you're going to make a decision. And in our notes, when we're taking things, we're going to say when we duck, or if we're going to do a low parry after a certain situation, or if we're just going to do kind of a natural kind of response. While it may not be the best response, it covers all options, and so then we can call that a pure strategy, in which I covered pure strategy analysis in a different video of how to do that. And so the 2 strings, or really the 3 strings that we're going to be looking at, is first down forward 2-1, which comes out as a mid-high. After this mid attack, we are able to duck and then punish from there. And so we can get, after we block this mid, we can start practicing to train ourselves to immediately duck. And we have enough time to do a wall standing 1+2 punish to kind of block that. If we just still stand there blocking, we don't take any damage, but they're going to be positive on block and we can't punish it from here. And so why don't we start training ourselves with this string to actually punish them. The next strings, this is actually, it has 2 different enders, in which we're going to do down forward 4-3-4, which ends in a mid, and then it's other variant of down forward 4-3 and then down 4, and so it's a low. So this creates a mix-up situation, but we can analyze kind of this mix-up and figure out what is a pure strategy that we can do, or does one exist. And we can see that even after we're hit by this first attack and we duck the second high attack, no matter what variant that we do, if they do the 4, we can put them in the kind of a launch state. If they do the low blow, we're just going to be able to kind of punish it from there. And because it's a low-high kind of variation, no matter what, we can kind of react to it. And so even if we're hit by this down forward 4, we should be able to duck and kind of go under that high attack. And then after we see the high attack come out, we have a fast enough attack to basically interrupt anything that comes after that, in which we're able just to do a wall standing 2-2 and kind of punish it. And so now that we have kind of just a simple analysis to show how to fill out this spreadsheet, I'm going to move on to our little working space and see how I would take notes on the few moves that we just covered. And so we pulled up my kind of working spreadsheet that I have. I take all my notes actually on physical paper. You can use either a spiral notebook or a little bit something smaller. I prefer the actual physical interface because I can bring it with me, and if I'm just doing ladder matches or practicing, I can have that matchup and I can flip to that page and just have all this information in front of me. Or if you prefer, and what you've seen a lot on streams, is people will look at any notes they have on their phone, but it's a little less inconvenient to just constantly have your phone open, drains the battery. Why not just have every kind of character all in one place that you're able to kind of flip through? And so I also wanted to note here that a lot of the frame data was taken from this website, rbnorway.org. Again, you need to check everything that they have listed there, as it may not be 100%. Even when I was doing analysis of Claudio, that website was just missing moves altogether. It just wasn't on, even though it's a move in the game. So it's something to keep in mind. It's not a complete correct or concise list, but it's a really good start to start kind of analysis of where to place different things. So what we have here is at the very top of the page, I always start with what character I'm looking at. So in this instance, we're doing matchup analysis versus King. Again, everything that's listed on here is something that we can look at and we can adapt and study it. If it doesn't help us make a decision, it should not be on this paper. As we first talked about in the video, we have a breakdown of the Rage Art, the Rage Drive, and the Power Crush. I always say at what hit level it's at. With King, they're all mid, so it doesn't matter, but some people have high Rage Arts, some people have low Rage Arts, and same thing with Rage Drives, and some Rage Drives are strings, some Rage Drives are punishable, and that's where kind of these negative and positive numbers are. These are just tracking frames to tell us what we should do, and if it's kind of in the ambiguity range, I even say what decision or what punish we should do. So versus King, if I'm playing as King and I don't have Rage, I'm doing up forward +4 and then normal combo afterwards. But if I have Rage, I can do down back 1+2, which is the Rage Drive, and do 85 damage opposed to 69 damage unraged. And so I always start this. For most characters, you're going to memorize these stats the easiest because it's just 3 numbers per character. And so if you're kind of condensing your matchup analysis, you can eventually remove this completely. Or I more prefer just to keep everything in a very small place, just in case you forget. You may not have played a Lily in a long time, and so you just kind of re-review it real quick. After that, we now have kind of broken down the columns in which we have punishers. King has a 10 frame, a 12 frame, and a 15 frame punisher that he goes to very regularly. If you are making your own matchup analysis sheet and you have an 11 frame punish and a 13 frame punish, you then need to include those columns. Beneath those columns, you're then going to write exactly what moves the character that we're analyzing is punishable. So 1+2, 1 is actually a 10 frame punish, as we showed. This actually comes out as a mid, and as soon as we block it, we do 10 frame punishers. The same thing, all of our 12 frame punishers of the back one and then 2, we can punish with our own back 1, 2. The forward 4, even though it's -15, we can't reach it with our 15 frame punisher, so we're going to use our 12 frame punisher for it. And then finally, down back 3, even though that it's a low attack, we are able to do our 15 frame punisher, which is our hop kick of up forward 4. If it helps you, you could also write the note of exactly what move to do, but these things are going to become very second nature as you're going to be doing them a lot with your character. So you can set this up for King like I have just now, King versus King, or if you are a Jin player or a Kazuya player, you can set up your columns kind of the same way. Then kind of the 2 last notes, I then have an entire section of just that's based on strengths. And we kind of looked at 2 different examples of if we do the down forward 2-1, which is a pretty common poke. I also show the hitboxes that it's a mid-high. In my notes section, I say that we duck, and then we can punish it with a wall standing 1+2. Even if we do the wall standing 1+2, I think the move is about -10 on block, so we are able to be punished. but you should be able to basically react if they do throw that 1 out. So you duck, and then you can check if you want to do the wall standing 1+2 to do the full punish. This is comparatively to if kind of this string matchup, and this is kind of why I've bracketed it extra right here, showing that we have either a mix-up opportunity or even a pure strategy that we're going to kind of come into. I have the notation of the moves, the hit boxes in which the move comes out at, and then I have our notes of that we should duck, and then we should do a wall standing +2. Because we have the exact same decision for this mix-up, I then kind of make this triangle to show that we have a pure strategy, and I have the additional note that even on hit, like even on the first hit, we should duck and then continue to do the wall standing +2, -9 on block, so it's safe. So this is a very safe way to respond to this sort of mix-up. If they try to stop it earlier or if they continue going, we're going to be able to punish them. And you will just continue on going, looking at every single string, every single move that's negative on block, using this RB Norway as kind of a guide of what moves possibly are negative. And then finally, you can start making kind of behavioral notes. And this is a little bit more advanced, in which you're saying, okay, I keep facing king players and they keep doing this exact same setup. And so you're going to start marking, after they do a 1 and I block, usually then they try to giant swing me. So I'm going to write down kind of a behavior. This isn't a true string. It's not a guaranteed move. It's not anything. But we're going to mark that usually if I block a jab, they're +1 on block, and they're going to try to do a giant swing. So I should be looking for a grab break, or I can mark saying that I'm going to try to crouch as an option, in which I can even do a quick crouch crush, or a high crush move to put some damage on. So this is one of the things that I can do. And we can continue on seeing what's been successful and what not, but you're going to basically be writing what you've observed during your own play and how you respond. Everything above that behavioral aspect, what we showed up here, all this is things that we can study and that are theoretically kind of sound of what we should do. So with that, I just wanted to kind of build the framework of how I track matchup analysis and record it with my own kind of work. So with that, hopefully you learned something today. If you like what you saw so far, hit that subscribe button, and we're going to see you guys next time.